Still on crime, with the festive season fast approaching, consumers have been warned to protect their personal information, especially when it comes to their money. South Africa is a potential target of cyber attacks, and that threat is growing. Joining us for more is Anthony Olivier, the MD of Performanta Consulting. Anthony, good morning. Welcome to Morning News today. Why are we so vulnerable in South Africa to cyber attacks?
We're vulnerable in South Africa specifically. I think that the level of awareness in South Africa is not that great, truthfully. It's not as great as it is overseas, for example. When you get into the festive season, behavior changes. It becomes more easy for the consumer to be attacked.
How do people get access to our information? How does it normally happen? What's the process that is followed by cyber attackers?
Various different ways. The most common one is a process known as phishing. So people will be online, they'll get emails that will induce them to give some information on. So they'll get special offers, they'll get opportunities, but they'll be asked for information. The more obvious ways, people have their cards swapped, they have cards stolen, people look over your shoulders when you enter PIN, different ways.
What can one do to protect themselves? Because you're saying that in this manner that this information becomes more and more vulnerable because we become a bit more lax as individuals during this festive season.
Your behavior changes over the festive season. So you're spending more money. It's not as easy for you to know where you have spent your money. The thing to remember is you're the first line of defense. It's not your bank, it is you. When you're holding your card, you have to protect it. So make sure people don't get hold of your PIN. Don't give people your card if you don't know what is being done with it. Always be aware of what transactions are going through your account. If something goes wrong on your account, alert the bank early.
Is the technology changing? Are the ways and means that people are trying to get this access to this information becoming more and more sophisticated?
Definitely, the technology is changing, but not necessarily against the consumer. The technology is changing against a large organizations such as the banks. The consumers are getting more protected as they move towards chip pins. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term EMV. It's the shift away from the mag stripe to the chip pin, making you safer.
Does it help in any way, and how soon will we have that on our shores so that ideally we can obviously protect ourselves?
Those chip pin rollouts are already occurring. Most consumers, I think, would already have one. They make you safer because you're obliged to enter a PIN. If your chip PIN is not working, if for some reason you're not asked to give a PIN, I would be cautious and perhaps I wouldn't do the transaction.
Over the internet, what are the telltale signs? How do you start knowing that something might be a bit fishy here?
You start knowing when you get approached by people with special offers, people that you don't know, mails that you don't expect. In the normal course of events, you're dealing with people, you know who they are. It's like anything else. If a stranger had to approach you on the street and say, "I've got a special offer," are you going to believe him? It's not necessarily.
They might not have teeth after that, but yes, no, believe. Now, the next thing is, as we approach this period, as you say, criminals are getting a bit more sophisticated. Do we have legislation? Do we have means of protecting ourselves? Yes, you do say that our first line of defense is us, by protecting ourselves, and it's not the banks. But from a legal perspective, are the laws of the country, or the legislation that we have, or the policies that we have, are they strong enough to protect us against these sort of things?
We have legislation. Let me put it this way. We have great legislation, which truthfully is not well policed. So there are elements of legislation such as the National Credit Act, which protects the consumer. There are things such as the Privacy Bill, which are coming. And all of those do make us safer. But in order for them to work, they have to be well policed. And we're getting there. We're not there yet.
Thank you very much. A pleasure having you with us. That was Anthony Olivier, the MD of Performanta Consulting. When we return here on Morning News.